1995D. Washington quarter minted in Denver is a common coin in circulation. However, certain factors can elevate its value significantly in today's market. One such factor is the presence of distinctive black toning. This unique coloration can result from natural oxidation over time or specific environmental conditions. Collectors often find such toning appealing, potentially increasing the coin's desirability and market value. Coin's value. The coin's condition, graded on the mint state MS scale, plays a crucial role in determining its worth. For instance, a 1995 D quarter in MS 65 condition is valued between $6 and $40. In MS 67, values range from $50 to $1,293. Exceptionally rare MS 68 specimens have reached up to $3,600 at auction. Professional grading by reputable agencies can provide an accurate assessment of a coin's condition, authenticity, and any unique features like black toning. This certification can significantly influence a coin's market value. Next up today, we're diving into the 1980D Washington quarter, minted in Denver. Let's explore its design, mintage, and current market value. The 1980D quarter features the classic portrait of George Washington on the obverse, designed by John Flanagan. On the reverse, we see the heraldic eagle with outstretched wings, a staple since 1932. In 1980, the Denver Mint produced over 518 million of these quarters, making them quite common in circulation. The value of a 1980D quarter largely depends on its condition. Circulated coins typically hold a value of 25 cents. However, uncirculated coins can fetch higher prices. For instance, an uncirculated 1980D quarter, graded MS63, might be valued at around $1 or more. Coins graded MS65 can reach approximately $5.50. Exceptional specimens graded MS67 have been known to command prices up to $325. Notably, a 1980D Washington quarter in MS67 condition was sold for $1,380 at a Heritage Auctions event in 2007. If you're assessing your 1980-D quarter, pay close attention to its luster, the absence of wear, and sharpness of details. These factors significantly influence its grade and value. While the 1980D Washington quarter is common, pristine uncirculated examples can be valuable additions to any collection. Keep an eye out. You might just have a hidden gem. Next up, the 1991 D Washington quarter is a common coin in circulation, but its value can vary significantly based on its condition. Designed by John Flanagan, this quarter features a portrait of George Washington on the obverse and a heraldic eagle on the reverse. It has a diameter of 24.3 millimeters, weighs 5.67 grams, and is composed of 91.67% copper and 8.33% nickel. In numismatics, the condition of a coin is paramount. Coins are graded on a scale from poor P1 to mint state MS70. An extra fine EF40 grade indicates light wear on the high points, with most details still visible. As of March 2025, the value of a 1991 D Washington quarter varies with its grade. In extra fine EF40 condition, it's typically worth its face value of 25 cents. However, in uncirculated conditions, values increase MS63. Approximately $2 AEPMEX plus 2 coins, value plus 2 rarest.org plus 2 MS64, around $5 MS65, about $5 MS66, between 35 and 104 coins value MS67, ranging from $517 to $1,680. rarest.org plus 3 coins value plus 3 APMEX plus 3. If you're aiming to enhance your collection with a 1991 D Washington quarter, focus on coins in higher uncirculated grades. While EF40 coins are common and hold minimal premium, those graded MS65 and above are scarcer and more valuable. Always consider professional grading to accurately assess and maximize your coin's value. Next up, the 1979 D Washington quarter, focusing on its value. Especially when found in damaged condition, the 1979 D quarter was minted at the Denver Mint, as indicated by the D Mint mark. Over 489 million of these coins were produced, making them relatively common. The most coin grading plays a crucial role in determining a coin's value. Grades range from poor, P-1, where the coin is heavily worn, to mint state MS70, indicating a flawless coin. When it comes to damaged or heavily circulated 1979 D quarters, their value typically aligns with their face value of 25 cents. Even in better circulated conditions, these coins often don't command a premium. However, in uncirculated or mint state conditions, the value increases. For instance, an MS65 graded 1979 D quarter might be valued between $15 and $60. Exceptional specimens graded MS67 can fetch between $110 and $450. Certain mint errors can also enhance a coin's value. For example, a 1979 D quarter struck off-center or on an incorrect planchet can be worth significantly more to collectors. In summary, while a damaged 1979 D Washington quarter may only be worth its face value, coins in exceptional condition or with notable errors can be valuable. Always consider factors like condition, rarity, and demand when assessing a coin's worth. Next up, have you ever come across a 1977 Washington quarter without a mint mark and wondered about its value, especially in less than perfect condition? Let's delve into the world of this particular coin and uncover its current market standing. The 1977 Washington quarter was minted in Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. Notably, coins from the Philadelphia Mint during this period did not carry a mint mark. With over 468 million quarters produced in Philadelphia that year, these coins are relatively common. In circulated conditions, these quarters primarily hold their face value of 25 cents. However, those in uncirculated or mint state can fetch higher prices. For instance, an uncirculated 1977 quarter without a mint mark typically sells for between $1 and $5. Remarkably, a top-graded MS67 Plus specimen was auctioned for $2,550 in 2021. Understanding coin grading is essential. The Sheldon scale, ranging from 1 to 70, assesses a coin's condition. Circulated coins usually fall below MS60, indicating noticeable wear, while uncirculated coins range from MS60 to MS70, with higher numbers signifying superior preservation. While the standard 1977 quarters aren't typically high value, certain errors can increase their worth. For example, a 1977 D quarter mistakenly struck on a 40% silver planchet intended for bicentennial coins sold for nearly $5,000. Other anomalies, like off-center strikes or double denominations, can also command premium prices. Next up, the 1984 Washington quarter, minted in Philadelphia, identified by the P Mint mark. Despite its age, this coin remains common due to a high mintage of over 676 million pieces. The 1984 P quarter is composed of 91.67% copper and 8.33% nickel, weighing 5.67 grams with a diameter of 24.3 millimeters. Its design features John Flanagan's portrait of George Washington on the obverse and a heraldic eagle on the reverse. In circulated condition, where the coin shows signs of wear such as flattened details and surface abrasions, its value typically ranges from 25 cents to 50 cents. These coins are readily available and hold minimal premium over face value. Uncirculated coins, graded MS-60 to MS-65, may fetch between $1 and $10. Coins graded MS-66 and above are rarer and can command higher prices. For instance, an MS-67 graded 1984 P quarter sold for $540 at a Heritage Auctions event in May 2019. While the 1984 P quarter doesn't have widely recognized errors, it's essential to inspect coins for anomalies like off-center strikes or filled mint marks, which can increase value. For example, a 1983 quarter with a filled D mint mark due to a striking error sold for $300. Coins value +3, the U.S. Sun +3 coin trackers +3. In summary, a 1984 P Washington quarter in circulated or dirty condition holds a value close to its face value of 25 cents. Of American coinage since 1932, when it was first introduced to honor the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth. The design was created by John Flanagan, featuring a left-facing portrait of Washington on the obverse side. This design remained mostly unchanged for decades, including the 1996 version. The obverse shows Washington's bust, along with the words "Liberty, in God We Trust," and the date, 1996. The reverse side features an eagle with outstretched wings perched on a bundle of arrows with olive branches beneath, a strong symbol of peace through strength. The mint mark D indicates that the coin was struck at the Denver Mint. In 1996, the Denver Mint produced over 906 million Washington quarters. That's a very high mintage number. Because of this, the 1996 D quarter is considered common in circulation. You've probably handled one of these coins without realizing it. Since so many were made and widely used in everyday transactions, most examples you find today will be well worn or circulated. These are generally worth face value, just 25 cents. However, if you happen to find a 1996 D quarter in uncirculated condition, the value can be slightly higher. A quarter that is still in mint state, with no signs of wear and sharp details, can be worth between $1 and $5 to collectors. If it's graded by a professional service like PCGS or NGC and receives a high mint state grade, such as MS-65 or higher, the value can go up to around $10 to $25. In rare cases, coins with exceptional strike quality, full details, or special eye appeal have sold for even more at auction. The record auction price for a 1996 D Washington quarter in mint state 67 condition was around $450. There are no major known errors or varieties for the standard 1996 D Washington quarter, but collectors always watch for minor die cracks, off-center strikes, and double dies. These kinds of mint errors can increase the coin's value significantly, depending on how dramatic or noticeable the flaw is. If you find a 1996 D quarter with any unusual features, it's worth getting it checked by a coin expert or grading service. It's also worth mentioning that 1996 was the final year before the U.S. Mint launched the popular 50-state quarters program in 1999. That makes the 1996 issues some of the last of the classic Eagleback Washington quarters, which ran from 1932 to 1998. This adds a little extra historical interest for collectors who like to complete full sets of the original design. In summary, the 1996 D Washington quarter is a modern coin with high mintage and common availability, meaning most examples are only worth face value. But if you have a coin in brilliant uncirculated condition, especially one graded MS-65 or higher, it could be worth a few dollars or more. While not rare, it still plays an important part in the long-running history of the Washington Quarter series, marking the end of an era before the more collectible state quarters took over. Next up, the 1984 D Washington Quarter is part of the long-running Washington Quarter series, which began in 1932. The design on the front, or obverse, features a left-facing portrait of George Washington. This classic image was created by sculptor John Flanagan and remained largely unchanged for decades. Around the portrait, you'll see the words "Liberty" at the top, "In God We Trust" on the left side, and the year 1984 at the bottom. Just to the right of the ribbon in Washington's hair, you'll find the D Mint mark, which tells us this coin was struck at the Denver Mint. Now, here's where things get interesting. In 1984, the Denver Mint produced over 546 million Washington quarters. That's more than 500 million coins, so the 1984 D quarter is considered very common. Because of its high mintage and wide circulation, most 1984 D quarters that you find in pocket change or coin jars will be heavily worn and are worth just face value, 25 cents. But, as always with coins, condition is everything. If you happen to find a 1984 D quarter in uncirculated condition, meaning it shows no signs of wear and still has its original mint luster, it can be worth more than face value. A coin in mint state, such as MS-60 to MS-64, might sell for about $1 to $3. Coins graded MS-65 and above, with sharp details and clean surfaces, can go for $10 to $25, depending on the market and collector interest. The highest known grade for this coin is MS-67, and examples in that condition have sold at auction for around $300 or more. So, while it's not rare, there's still some collector value if you have a high-quality example. Another thing to keep an eye out for is mint errors. The 1984 D quarter is known to have a few error types that attract collectors, including off-center strikes, die cracks, and occasionally clashed dies. One of the most interesting finds is a double die obverse, where the lettering and details may appear slightly doubled. These errors are not super common, but if you spot one, the value can increase significantly, sometimes from a few dollars to over $100, depending on the error and its visibility. The metal composition is also important. Like all standard quarters minted between 1965 and 1998, the 1984 D quarter is made from a clad composition. That's a copper-nickel outer layer over a pure copper core. It does not contain any silver, so it doesn't carry intrinsic metal value. However, it still holds historical significance as part of the original Washington Quarter design before the state quarters began in 1999. Next up, the Washington Quarter has been in circulation since 1932, originally designed to commemorate the 200th birthday of George Washington. The obverse, or front side, of the coin features a portrait of Washington facing left, designed by John Flanagan. The words "Liberty" appear above his head, with "In God We Trust" to the left, and the date, 1980, right at the bottom. Just beside the ribbon in Washington's hair, you'll see a small letter D, and that's the mint mark indicating the coin was produced at the Denver Mint. In 1980, the Denver Mint struck a massive number of Washington quarters, over 635 million coins to be exact. That's a huge montage, which means the 1980 D quarter is considered a common coin in the world of numismatics. Most of these coins were released into everyday circulation, so it's not rare to find one in your pocket, in rolls, or inside a coin jar. Because of the high mintage, most 1980D quarters in circulated condition, meaning coins that have been used and show signs of wear, are worth only their face value, which is 25 cents. But as always, condition plays a major role in coin collecting. If you find a 1980D quarter that has never been used, one that still has full mint luster, no scratches, and clean surfaces, it could be considered uncirculated or mint state. In the mint state grades, like MS-60 to MS-64, the value typically ranges from $1 to $3. But if the coin is especially well struck and receives a grade of MS-65 or higher, it becomes more desirable to collectors. At MS-65, a 1980D quarter might be worth $10 to $15. In top grades like MS-66 or MS-67, it can bring in $50, $100, or even more, especially if it's certified by a grading service like PCGS or NGC. The highest graded examples of the 1980D quarter have sold at auction for upwards of $400 to $600, but those are rare cases in nearly perfect condition. Now, as for errors or varieties, the 1980D Washington quarter does not have any famous major errors like a double die or over mint mark known to the public. But that doesn't mean you can't find something interesting. Always check for minor mint errors like off-center strikes, die cracks, or planche flaws. These small issues can still raise the coin's value, depending on how dramatic and visible the error is. A well-defined off-center strike or die break on a 1980D quarter could be worth $10 to $50 or more, depending on the severity and collector demand. Next up, let's begin with a bit of background. The Washington quarter was first introduced in 1932 to honor the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth. The design, by sculptor John Flanagan, became one of the most iconic and long-lasting designs in U.S. coin history. The obverse of the coin, the front, features a left-facing bust of George Washington, with the word Liberty above, In God We Trust to the left, and the date below. The reverse shows a bold eagle perched on a bundle of arrows, with olive branches underneath, symbolizing strength and peace. The 1978 quarter was minted at 3 locations: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. If your coin has no mint mark just behind Washington's ponytail, it was minted in Philadelphia. If there's a small D, it was made in Denver. And if it has an S, it came from San Francisco, though most of those were proof coins made for collectors. In total, hundreds of millions of quarters were produced in 1978. The Philadelphia Mint struck over 521 million, while the Denver Mint made over 287 million. That means the 1978 quarter is not rare in terms of mintage. It was produced in large quantities for everyday circulation, and most of these coins saw heavy use over the years. Now, let's talk about value, especially for a fine condition coin. Fine is a specific coin grading term. It means the coin is worn, but all major design elements are visible. You can still clearly see Washington's features, the eagle's outline, and the key lettering, but details are smoothed out due to circulation wear. In that condition, a 1978 quarter is typically worth face value, 25 cents. It's considered a common coin, and because it contains no silver, it doesn't carry any extra melt value either. However, if you find a 1978 quarter in uncirculated or mint state condition, that's a different story. A coin with no wear, full mint luster, and strong strike could be worth between $2 and $10, depending on the grade. The highest known grade for a 1978 Washington quarter is MS-67, and those examples can fetch up to $300 to $500 at auction if certified by top grading companies like PCGS or NGC. What about errors? While the 1978 quarter doesn't have any major known varieties or famous errors, there are always possibilities of minor mistakes like off-center strikes, die cracks, or doubled dies. If you find one with unusual features, like lettering that looks doubled or a misaligned design, it could be worth $20 to several $100s, depending on how dramatic and rare the error is. 1995 D. Washington quarter minted in Denver is a common coin in circulation. However, certain factors can elevate its value significantly in today's market. One such factor is the presence of distinctive black toning. This unique coloration can result from natural oxidation over time or specific environmental conditions. Collectors often find such toning appealing, potentially increasing the coin's desirability and market value. Coin's value. The coin's condition, graded on the mint state MS scale, plays a crucial role in determining its worth. For instance, a 1995 D quarter in MS 65 condition is valued between $6 and $40. In MS 67, values range from $50 to $1,293. Exceptionally rare MS 68 specimens have reached up to $3,600 at auction. Professional grading by reputable agencies can provide an accurate assessment of a coin's condition, authenticity, and any unique features like black toning. This certification can significantly influence a coin's market value. Next up today, we're diving into the 1980 D Washington quarter, minted in Denver. Let's explore its design, mintage, and current market value. The 1980 D quarter features the classic portrait of George Washington on the obverse, designed by John Flanagan. On the reverse, we see the heraldic eagle with outstretched wings, a staple since 1932. In 1980, the Denver Mint produced over 518 million of these quarters, making them quite common in circulation. The value of a 1980 D quarter largely depends on its condition. Circulated coins typically hold a value of 25 cents. However, uncirculated coins can fetch higher prices. For instance, an uncirculated 1980 D quarter, graded MS 63, might be valued at around $1 or more. Coins graded MS 65 can reach approximately $5.50. Exceptional specimens graded MS 67 have been known to command prices up to $325. Notably, a 1980 D Washington quarter in MS 67 condition was sold for $1,380 at a Heritage Auctions event in 2007. If you're assessing your 1980 D quarter, pay close attention to its luster, the absence of wear, and sharpness of details. These factors significantly influence its grade and value. While the 1980 D Washington quarter is common, pristine uncirculated examples can be valuable additions to any collection. Keep an eye out. You might just have a hidden gem. Next up, the 1991 D Washington quarter is a common coin in circulation, but its value can vary significantly based on its condition. Designed by John Flanagan, this quarter features a portrait of George Washington on the obverse and a heraldic eagle on the reverse. It has a diameter of 24.3 millimeters, weighs 5.67 grams, and is composed of 91.67% copper and 8.33% nickel. In numismatics, the condition of a coin is paramount. Coins are graded on a scale from poor P1 to mint state MS 70. An extra fine EF 40 grade indicates light wear on the high points, with most details still visible. As of March 2025, the value of a 1991 D Washington quarter varies with its grade. In extra fine EF 40 condition, it's typically worth its face value of 25 cents. However, in uncirculated conditions, values increase MS63, approximately $2 AEPMEX plus 2 coins, value plus 2 rarest.org plus 2 MS64, around $5 MS65, about $5 MS66, between 35 and 104 coins value MS67, ranging from $517 to $1,680. Rarest.org plus 3 coins value plus 3 APMEX plus 3. If you're aiming to enhance your collection with a 1991 D Washington quarter, focus on coins in higher uncirculated grades. While EF40 coins are common and hold minimal premium, those graded MS65 and above are scarcer and more valuable. Always consider professional grading to accurately assess and maximize your coin's value. Next up, the 1979 D Washington quarter, focusing on its value. Especially when found in damaged condition, the 1979 D quarter was minted at the Denver Mint, as indicated by the D Mint mark. Over 489 million of these coins were produced, making them relatively common. The most coin grading plays a crucial role in determining a coin's value. Grades range from poor, P-1, where the coin is heavily worn, to mint state MS70, indicating a flawless coin. When it comes to damaged or heavily circulated 1979 D quarters, their value typically aligns with their face value of 25 cents. Even in better circulated conditions, these coins often don't command a premium. However, in uncirculated or mint state conditions, the value increases. For instance, an MS65 graded 1979 D quarter might be valued between $15 and $60. Exceptional specimens graded MS67 can fetch between $110 and $450. Certain mint errors can also enhance a coin's value. For example, a 1979 D quarter struck off-center or on an incorrect planchet can be worth significantly more to collectors. In summary, while a damaged 1979 D Washington quarter may only be worth its face value, coins in exceptional condition or with notable errors can be valuable. Always consider factors like condition, rarity, and demand when assessing a coin's worth. First up, have you ever checked your pocket change and wondered if you might be holding a fortune? Some quarters are worth much more than their face value, and today we're diving deep into the 1999 Connecticut State Quarter. This coin, part of the U.S. Mint's 50 State Quarters program, has a fascinating history and, in some cases, can be extremely valuable to collectors. The Connecticut State Quarter was released on October 12, 1999, as the 5th coin in the series. It features the iconic Charter Oak, a symbol of American independence and resilience. The Charter Oak is famous for its role in 1687, when it was used to hide Connecticut's royal charter from British authorities. This design pays homage to the state's rich history and was chosen to represent its spirit of freedom and defiance. While most Connecticut quarters are only worth their face value, certain rare variations and errors can command high prices. One of the most valuable versions of this coin is the 1999 Connecticut quarter, struck on an experimental planchet. During the early production of the state quarters, the U.S. Mint tested different metal compositions, and some of these experimental planchet coins mistakenly entered circulation. If you happen to find one of these rare pieces, it could be worth anywhere from $2,500 to $10,000, depending on its condition and authentication. Another rare error associated with this quarter is the off-center strike, where the coin's design is misaligned due to a minting mistake. Depending on the degree of the error, such coins can fetch hundreds or even thousands of dollars in collector markets. Additionally, If your Connecticut quarter has a double die error, where parts of the design appear duplicated, it might be worth significantly more than its standard value. The best way to determine if you have a valuable Connecticut state quarter is to check for errors and unusual characteristics. Using a magnifying glass, inspect the coin's details, edge, and weight. If you suspect you have a rare variant, consider having it graded by a professional numismatic service such as PCGS or NGC. There you have it. The 1999 Connecticut State Quarter is not just a piece of history, but also a potential treasure hiding in your change. Always check your quarters. You never know when you might find one worth thousands of dollars. Have you ever come across a rare or error coin? Next up, the 2008 Hawaii State Quarter is part of the U.S. Mint's 50 State Quarters program, which ran from 1999 to 2008, with each state getting its own unique quarter design. Hawaii's quarter was the final coin in the series and was released in 2008, commemorating the state's admission into the Union as the 50th state on August 21, 1959. The coin features the traditional obverse design of George Washington, which was created by John Flanagan. The reverse back of the coin showcases a design that represents Hawaii's culture and natural beauty. The artist, Charles Vickers, depicted the silhouette of the islands of Hawaii along with a large hibiscus flower in the foreground. The design also includes a strand of white coral, representing Hawaii's location in the Pacific Ocean. The words Hawaii and the Aloha State are inscribed along with the year 1959, marking the state's entry into the Union, and the national motto E Pluribus Unum. In terms of value, a circulated 2008 Hawaii quarter is worth face value, 25 cents. However, its value can increase if it is in uncirculated condition or part of a special set. For example, an uncirculated Hawaii quarter could be worth anywhere from $1 to $5, depending on its condition. Additionally, the coin was minted in various forms, such as the standard circulating coins, as well as silver-proof coins, and those produced in different mint locations like Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. Coins minted at the San Francisco Mint, especially proof coins, often carry a higher value due to their shiny, uncirculated finish. The Hawaii State Quarter has become a favorite among collectors, particularly because it was the last coin in the 50 State Quarters program. As the series' final issue, it holds a special place in numismatic history. The combination of Hawaii's vibrant culture, natural beauty, and historical significance makes this quarter not just a piece of currency, but a commemorative symbol of the Aloha State. Additionally, any errors or unique variations, such as misprints or unusual die markings, can further increase the coin's value among collectors. Whether you're collecting all 50 state quarters or just focusing on special designs, the Hawaii quarter remains a highly sought-after coin due to its design and significance as the final release in the State Quarters series. Next up, the 2003 Arkansas State Quarter is part of the U.S. Mint's 50 State Quarters program, which was launched in 1999 and concluded in 2008. Each state was represented by a unique quarter design, and Arkansas's quarter was released in 2003 as the 25th coin in the series. Arkansas became the 25th state to join the Union on June 15, 1836, and this quarter commemorates that milestone. The design of the Arkansas quarter features elements symbolic of the state's heritage and natural beauty. The reverse back of the coin depicts an image of a diamond, referencing the Crater of Diamonds State Park in Arkansas, which is the only public diamond-producing site in the world. This feature ties into Arkansas's nickname, the Natural State, and highlights its geological significance. In addition to the diamond, the design includes a depiction of a pine tree and the state's motto, the Natural State. further emphasizing the state's natural beauty and rich resources. The obverse, front, of the coin features the standard portrait of George Washington, as designed by John Flanagan, which appears on all quarters issued in the program. As for the value, a circulated 2003 Arkansas quarter is worth face value, 25 cents. However, its value can be higher depending on its condition. Uncirculated Arkansas state quarters, which have been preserved in excellent condition, can be worth more to collectors, typically ranging from $1 to $5, depending on factors such as the coin's overall quality and whether it has been part of a special set. Additionally, the coin was minted in various locations, including the Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco mints, which can affect its value as well, especially if it's a proof coin from San Francisco. Special editions, such as silver-proof coins, can also fetch a higher price, with these typically being worth around $10 or more, depending on the market and demand. Collectors may also seek out error coins, such as those with misprints or other unique variations, which can sometimes increase in value due to their rarity. As part of the 50 State Quarters program, the Arkansas Quarter holds significance for collectors, both for its design and its place in the series. Next up, the 2007 Utah State Quarter is part of the U.S. Mint's 50 State Quarters program, which ran from 1999 to 2008. This program issued a unique quarter design for each state in the order of their admission into the Union. Utah's quarter was released in 2007 as the 45th coin in the series, commemorating the state's history and landmarks. Utah became the 45th state on January 4, 1896, and the quarter honors significant aspects of its geography and history. The design on the reverse, back of the coin, features an image of Delicate Arch, one of Utah's most iconic natural landmarks. The arch, located in Arches National Park, is a symbol of the state's unique natural beauty and geological formations. The design also includes the inscription, Utah, the state's admission year, 1996, and the motto, Life Elevated, which reflects the state's high elevation and its reputation for outdoor recreation and stunning landscapes. The obverse, front, of the coin displays the familiar portrait of George Washington, designed by John Flanagan, which is standard for all coins in the 50 State Quarters program. As for its value, a circulated 2007 Utah quarter is worth its face value of 25 cents. However, its value can increase depending on its condition. Uncirculated quarters in excellent condition can range in value from $1 to $5, depending on factors such as the quality of the coin and whether it is part of a special set, like a proof set. The coin was minted in various locations, including Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco, with proof coins from the San Francisco Mint typically carrying a higher value. In addition to regular circulation coins, there were also silver-proof editions of the 2007 Utah Quarter, which are made from 90% silver. These silver-proof coins can be worth more than their face value, generally ranging from $10 to $15, depending on the market and condition. The 1980 Kennedy half-dollar is a fascinating piece of American coinage, not for its precious metal content, since by that year silver had been phased out of regular circulation strikes, but for its place in numismatic history and continued interest among collectors. Introduced in 1964 following the assassination of President John F. Kennedy, the Kennedy half-dollar was originally struck in 90% silver. However, by 1980, the coin had undergone major changes in composition. The 1980 Kennedy half-dollar was minted with a clad composition consisting of an outer layer of 75% copper and 25% nickel bonded to a core of pure copper. This change had begun in 1971, reflecting rising silver prices and the need for more cost-effective circulating coinage. Though the 1980 coin holds no silver content, it remains a popular collectible, especially in higher grades. The obverse of the 1980 Kennedy half-dollar features the familiar left-facing portrait of President John F. Kennedy, designed by Gilroy Roberts. His initials, GR, can be found at the truncation of the neck. The word Liberty arches above the bust, while the motto In God We Trust is placed below, with the year 1980 centered at the bottom. The reverse side, designed by Frank Gasparo, mirrors the presidential seal. It depicts a heraldic eagle with a shield on its chest, clutching an olive branch in its right talon, and a bundle of arrows in its left. The eagle is surrounded by a ring of 50 stars, and the legend, United States of America, curves around the top, with half-dollar at the bottom. In 1980, Kennedy half-dollars were produced at 3 U.S. mint facilities: Philadelphia, no mint mark; Denver, D mint mark; and San Francisco, S mint mark. The Philadelphia Mint struck over 44 million pieces, the Denver Mint struck approximately 33.5 million, and the San Francisco Mint produced proof coins for collector sets, totaling over 3.5 million. Because these coins were made in large quantities, circulated examples from Philadelphia and Denver are very common and generally worth only their face value of 50 cents. However, uncirculated coins, or those with particularly high grades, certified by agencies like PCGS or NGC, can fetch modest premiums. For example, a 1980D Kennedy half-dollar graded MS-67 can sell for $50 or more, while the 1980P in the same grade can bring similar prices, depending on demand and strike quality. Next up, the 1972 Kennedy half-dollar is a well-known coin in U.S. coinage, not because of rarity or silver content, but because of its place in the broader Kennedy series and the continued popularity of President John F. Kennedy's legacy. First minted in 1964 to honor President Kennedy after his assassination in 1963, the Kennedy half-dollar initially contained 90% silver. That composition changed in 1965 to a 40% silver-clad alloy, and by 1971, the U.S. Mint removed all silver from circulation strike half-dollars. So by the time the 1972 Kennedy half-dollar was minted, it was made entirely of a copper nickel-clad composition, an outer layer of 75% copper and 25% nickel bonded to a pure copper core. The obverse of the coin features the left-facing profile of President Kennedy, designed by Gilroy Roberts. It carries the inscriptions Liberty around the top, In God We Trust, split across the field beneath Kennedy's chin, and the date 1972 at the bottom. The reverse, designed by Frank Gasparo, shows the presidential seal, a heraldic eagle holding an olive branch in one talon and a bundle of arrows in the other, with a shield on its chest. A circle of 50 stars surrounds the eagle, with the inscriptions United States of America and half-dollar framing the outer edge. In 1972, the Kennedy half-dollar was minted at 3 different U.S. mint facilities: Philadelphia, no mint mark; Denver, D mint mark; and San Francisco, S mint mark. The Philadelphia Mint struck approximately 153.8 million coins. The Denver Mint struck around 141 million, and the San Francisco Mint produced about 3.2 million proof coins for collectors. These high mintages mean that the 1972 Kennedy half-dollar is common, and in circulated condition, it is generally only worth face value, about 50 cents. However, value increases with condition. Uncirculated examples graded MS-65 or higher can sell for a few dollars, and exceptionally well-struck or high-grade pieces, especially those graded MS-66 or MS-67, may reach $20 to $100 or more, depending on the quality and market demand. The San Francisco minted proof versions, especially those graded PR69 or PR70 with deep cameo contrast, can bring in higher values, typically between $10 and $50, with the rare, perfect-grade examples fetching even more. Next up, the 1977 Kennedy half dollar is part of the long-running Kennedy half series, first introduced in 1964 to honor the late President John F. Kennedy after his assassination in 1963. By 1977, the coin had already undergone several changes, most notably the complete removal of silver from its composition for circulation issues. Like all Kennedy half dollars minted for circulation after 1970, the 1977 issue is made from a copper nickel-clad composition. This means it has an outer layer of 75% copper and 25% nickel bonded to a pure copper core. While it doesn't contain any silver, the 1977 Kennedy half dollar still holds interest for collectors due to its design, mint varieties, and the potential value of high-grade or proof specimens. The obverse of the coin features a left-facing bust of President John F. Kennedy, originally designed by Gilroy Roberts. Around the rim is the word Liberty, with "In God We Trust" positioned in front of and below Kennedy's profile. The date, 1977, is centered at the bottom. The reverse, created by Frank Gasparo, features the presidential seal, an eagle holding an olive branch and arrows with a shield across its chest and surrounded by a circle of 50 stars. The reverse includes the inscriptions United States of America and half dollar. The 1977 Kennedy half dollar was struck at 2 mints for general circulation: Philadelphia, no mint mark, and Denver, marked with a D mint mark, and a proof version was produced in San Francisco, marked with an S. Mintage figures were relatively high. Philadelphia produced around 43.6 million coins. Denver struck about 31.4 million, and San Francisco made just over 3.2 million proof coins for collector sets. In circulated condition, the 1977 Kennedy half dollar is very common and typically only worth face value, about 50 cents. However, values increase slightly for uncirculated examples. Coins in MS-65 condition may sell for $5 to $10, while examples graded MS-66 or higher, especially with good luster and clean fields, can reach $30 to $100 depending on market demand. The 1977 D coins tend to be a little more common in high grades compared to the 1977 P, making high-grade Philadelphia issues slightly more desirable to some collectors. Next up, the 1971 Kennedy half dollar marks a significant turning point in the series and in modern U.S. coinage history. This was the first year that the Kennedy half dollar was struck entirely without silver for general circulation. From 1964 to 1970, Kennedy half dollars contained either 90% or 40% silver. But beginning in 1971, all circulating versions were made using a copper nickel-clad composition, an outer layer of 75% copper and 25% nickel bonded to a core of pure copper. This made the 1971 Kennedy half dollar the beginning of a new era for the denomination, as it became a base metal coin like most other modern U.S. coinage. The obverse design features the well-known left-facing portrait of President John F. Kennedy, created by Gilroy Roberts. Surrounding the portrait is the word Liberty, with "In God We Trust" positioned beneath the neck, and the date 1971 centered below. On the reverse, designed by Frank Gasparo, is the presidential seal, a bald eagle holding an olive branch and arrows, with a shield on its chest, and surrounded by 50 stars. The reverse also bears the inscriptions United States of America and half dollar. In 1971, Kennedy half-dollars were struck at 2 mints for circulation: Philadelphia, no mint mark, and Denver, D mint mark, as well as at the San Francisco Mint, S mint mark, for proof coins only. The Philadelphia Mint produced approximately 155.5 million coins, and the Denver Mint struck around 302 million, making the 1971 D one of the highest mintage Kennedy halves ever. The San Francisco Mint produced about 3.2 million proof coins, which were sold directly to collectors as part of proof sets. Because of these extremely high mintage numbers and the fact that the coins contain no silver, most 1971 Kennedy half-dollars in circulated condition are worth only face value, 50 cents. However, collector interest and values increase when the coin is in pristine, uncirculated condition. A 1971 P or 1971 D Kennedy half-dollar, graded MS-65 or higher by a reputable grading service like PCGS or NGC, can be worth $10 to $50, and exceptional examples graded MS-66 or MS-67 can command even higher premiums, occasionally reaching $100 or more, especially if they exhibit strong luster and a clean strike. First up, the 1967 Kennedy half-dollar was part of a series minted between 1965 and 1970, when the U.S. government reduced the silver content in circulating coins. Unlike the 1964 Kennedy half-dollar, which was 90% silver, the 1967 version contains 40% silver, making it still desirable for collectors and investors alike. During this period, no mint marks were used on half-dollars to discourage hoarding, so all 1967 halves were minted without a visible mark, though they were struck in Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. In terms of value, a standard circulated 1967 Kennedy half-dollar is typically worth around $4 to $7 due to its silver content. However, higher-grade uncirculated examples can sell for $50 or more. The real treasures are the SMS special mint set versions, which feature a sharper strike and satin finish. High-quality SMS specimens, particularly those graded MS-67 or higher, can sell for well over $1,000. Additionally, rare error varieties add even more value to these coins. Some known errors include missing initials, doubled dies, and off-center strikes. A well-preserved 1967 Kennedy half-dollar with an error can fetch significantly higher prices at auction. Before you spend or sell your 1967 Kennedy half-dollar, take a closer look. If it's in top condition or has a rare feature, you could be sitting on a valuable piece of history. Next up, the 1971 Kennedy half-dollar marks a major transition, as it was the first year the U.S. Mint completely removed silver from regular issue half-dollars. Unlike previous versions, which contained 40% silver from 1965 to 1970, or 90% silver in 1964, the 1971 Kennedy half-dollar is composed of a copper nickel clad, making it the first half-dollar of its kind. These coins were minted in Philadelphia, no mint mark, Denver, D mint mark, and San Francisco, S mint mark for proof versions. In terms of value, most circulated 1971 Kennedy half-dollars are only worth their face value of 50 cents due to their high mintage and lack of silver content. However, uncirculated examples and proof versions can carry a premium. A standard uncirculated 1971 half-dollar may sell for $2 to $10, while high-grade MS-66 plus examples can reach $100 or more. The proof versions struck at the San Francisco Mint, especially those in deep cameo condition, can be worth between $10 and $50, with top-graded specimens selling for even higher prices. The most valuable 1971 Kennedy half dollars are those with minting errors. One of the rarest and most sought-after errors is the 1971 D. Kennedy half dollar struck on a 40% silver planchet. A small number of these were mistakenly minted on leftover silver blanks from 1970. If you suspect you have one, check its weight. Silver planchets weigh approximately 11.5 grams, whereas standard clad coins weigh around 11.34 grams. These error coins have been known to sell for over $10,000 at auction. Other notable errors include doubled die obverses, off-center strikes, and missing clad layers, all of which can add significant value to a 1971 Kennedy half dollar. Next up, the 1965 Kennedy half dollar was the first year of a major composition change in U.S. coinage. Prior to 1965, half dollars were made of 90% silver, but due to rising silver prices and coin shortages, the U.S. Mint reduced the silver content to 40% and introduced a copper core. This silver-clad composition was used from 1965 to 1970 before being completely phased out in 1971. Unlike earlier coins, the 1965 Kennedy half dollar was minted without a mint mark to discourage hoarding, though they were struck at the Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco mints. In terms of value, circulated 1965. Kennedy half dollars are primarily valued for their silver content, making them worth around $5 to $10 depending on silver prices. However, uncirculated examples and high-grade coins can command much higher premiums. A well-preserved mint state, MS 66 or higher, 1965 Kennedy half dollar can sell for $100 or more, while the most pristine examples have fetched over $2,000 at auctions. One of the rarest varieties is the 1965 Special Mint Set Kennedy half dollar. These SMS coins were produced with a higher quality satin finish and sharper details compared to regular circulation coins. Some of these SMS half dollars also display a unique deep cameo DCAM finish, making them even more desirable. High-grade SMS coins can sell for over $5,000. Error coins are another factor that can increase a 1965 Kennedy half dollar's value. Notable errors include doubled die obverse DDO varieties, off-center strikes, and clipped planchets. Coins with dramatic errors can be worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars, depending on their rarity and condition. Next up, the 1972 Kennedy half dollar was minted in an era when the U.S. had fully transitioned away from silver coinage. Unlike earlier versions that contained silver, the 1972 Kennedy half dollar is composed of a copper nickel clad, meaning it has no intrinsic silver value. These coins were minted at 3 locations: Philadelphia, no mint mark; Denver, D mint mark; and San Francisco, S mint mark for proof versions. In terms of value, circulated 1972 Kennedy half dollars are generally worth face value as they were produced in massive quantities. Over 150 million were struck. However, uncirculated examples and high-grade specimens can fetch higher prices. A well-preserved mint state, MS 66 or higher, 1972 Kennedy half dollar can sell for $50 to $500, depending on its condition and rarity. Proof versions, especially those graded PR 69 or PR 70 with a deep cameo decam finish, can sell for $50 to $200. One of the rarest and most sought-after varieties is the 1972 D. Kennedy half dollar with a no FG missing designer initials error. The initials FG for Frank Gasparo, the coin's designer, are supposed to appear on the reverse near the eagle's tail feathers. Some coins were struck with a weak or missing FG due to excessive die polishing. These rare error coins can sell for over $1,000 in top grades. Another valuable error to look for is the 1972 Kennedy half-dollar struck on a silver planchet. While all 1972 halves were officially struck on copper-nickel planchets, a few were mistakenly minted on leftover 40% silver blanks from 1970. These error coins can be identified by their weight approximately 11.5 grams instead of 11.34 grams and a distinctive silver ring when tapped. If verified, these coins can sell for thousands of dollars. If you own a 1972 Kennedy half-dollar, be sure to check for high-grade condition or rare errors before spending it. While most are common, some can be worth a small fortune. Thanks for watching Worth Coin. If you enjoyed this, hit that like button and subscribe for more coin collecting insights. Who knows? Your pocket change might be worth a fortune. This coin holds not only historical importance, but also a unique place in American coin collecting. Let's explore its origins, design, key features, varieties, and what makes some of these coins worth much more than face value. In 1976, the United States celebrated its 200th anniversary of independence. To mark this momentous occasion, the U.S. Mint released special bicentennial coins, including the quarter, the half-dollar, and the dollar coin. These coins are distinct because they all bear dual dates, 1776 to 1976, instead of a single year. The Kennedy half-dollar was chosen as one of the 3 coins to carry this patriotic design, and it immediately caught the attention of collectors and the public alike. The obverse, or front, of the coin features the familiar portrait of President John F. Kennedy, designed by Gilroy Roberts. This design had been used since the coin's introduction in 1964, just months after Kennedy's assassination. But it's the reverse side that sets the bicentennial version apart. The reverse design, created by Seth G. Huntington, shows Independence Hall in Philadelphia, the iconic site where both the Declaration of Independence and the U.S. Constitution were debated and adopted. Above the image is the inscription, United States of America, and the denomination, half-dollar. Just below Independence Hall, you'll find the words 200 Years of Freedom, and, of course, the dual date, 1776 to 1976, commemorating the bicentennial of the United States. These bicentennial half-dollars were minted from 1975 through 1976, but none of them have a 1975 date. Instead, all coins produced over this 2-year period are marked with the dual date, 1776 to 1976. The coins were minted at 3 different locations, Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. Coins from Philadelphia bear no mint mark. Those from Denver have a small D mint mark, and those from San Francisco have an S. Now, when it comes to materials and value, not all bicentennial Kennedy half-dollars are created equal. The vast majority of these coins were made for circulation and are composed of a copper-nickel-clad composition, meaning they have a copper core sandwiched between 2 layers of nickel. These coins were minted in large numbers, so if you find one in pocket change or a coin jar, it's likely to be this type. As of today, circulated copper-nickel bicentennial halves typically have little to no additional value above face value, around 50 cents. However, in uncirculated condition, these coins may be worth about $1 to $3 depending on their grade. But here's where it gets interesting. The San Francisco Mint also struck special collector versions, both proof and uncirculated, in a 40% silver composition. These silver bicentennial Kennedy half-dollars were sold as part of 3 coin sets that included the quarter, half-dollar, and dollar. These coins are much more sought after by collectors and hold significantly more value, especially in pristine condition. A 40% silver uncirculated bicentennial half-dollar can be worth between $4 and $10. A 40% silver-proof version, depending on its condition, can sell for $6 to $15 or more. High-grade examples graded by services like PCGS or NGC can go even higher, especially those graded PR69 or PR70. Some rare errors and varieties also boost value. These include double-die obverses or reverses, off-center strikes, and coins struck on the wrong plancher. These are rare but can command premium prices, sometimes hundreds of dollars, depending on the rarity and condition. Another factor that affects the value is the condition or grade of the coin. Coins are graded on a 70-point scale, with 70 being a perfect coin. Uncirculated coins, those with no signs of wear, generally begin at MS60 and can reach up to MS70 for flawless specimens. Proof coins are specially made for collectors, with extra sharp detail and mirror-like surfaces, and are designated as PR or PF. If your bicentennial Kennedy half-dollar is graded highly, say MS67 or higher, it could be worth a lot more than just 50 cents, especially if it's a silver version. So, should you keep or sell a bicentennial Kennedy half-dollar? If you have one of the regular copper-nickel ones in circulated condition, it's usually best to just hold on to it as a piece of history unless it's in exceptional shape. However, if you have a silver version, especially one in uncirculated or proof condition, it's definitely worth keeping, or getting it appraised if it looks flawless. And if you stumble across an error coin, get it checked by a professional grading service. You could be holding on to a hidden gem. In summary, the 1776 to 1976 bicentennial Kennedy half-dollar is more than just a coin. It's a symbol of American heritage. While most of them aren't worth a fortune, certain varieties and conditions can fetch respectable prices among collectors. Whether you're just getting into coin collecting or already a seasoned collector, this coin is a great piece to own. It represents a unique moment in U.S. history and continues to be one of the most iconic commemorative coins ever minted. Thanks for watching Worth Coin. If you found this video helpful or learned something new today, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more deep dives into the history and value of collectible U.S. coins. See you in the next one.